Hey guys, welcome back to the ranch. Today I want to answer a question which I got on my other video, do all Swiss have guns? The question was asked by Miguel Hernandez, and I'm going to put the question up on the screen for you. He writes, I'm curious about Swiss firearm laws. Of course you don't have a Second Amendment in Switzerland, but what can you own? What does it take to own a firearm? And what can cause the seizure of your firearms? Also, other topics I'm interested in is Swiss firearm training and military service. I know they used to train children, young teenager with firearms in the early to mid 1900s. If your canton bought those training firearms, is this still common practice? What is life like serving in the military and the time it takes, a week/months? I also enjoy Swiss firearms we can get here in the US, straight pulls, Vetterli, and the handguns. I don't count SIG US as Swiss firearms. Alright, a lot of questions in this one question, so I split it up into the following topics. First, let's look at what it actually takes to own a firearm here in Switzerland and what can cause the seizure of your firearms. In Switzerland, you can't just go out and buy a weapon. You have to apply for a weapon acquisition license. Every canton has their own bureau that deals with this, but it's basically a standardized form that comes from the government that you have to fill out. I'll pop the form up here on the screen. Here you can see the kind of things that you have to fill out. As you can see, you got to fill out your name, your address, any relevant things like email, stuff like that. Then also you have to give a reason why you want to purchase the firearms. Basically, Switzerland only knows of 3 reasons to purchase a firearm. It's either for sport, for hunting, or for collection purposes. There is no option to say it's for self-defense. Because that's a whole nother topic if you want to use a weapon for self-defense in Switzerland. Basically, you have to be very sure when you use it, because otherwise you're the person that's going to end up in jail. And then on this form you have the ability to request to purchase 3 weapons or 3 weapon accessories. After you have purchased those 3 weapons or those 3 weapon accessories, you will then have to apply for a new weapon acquisition license if you want to get 3 new ones after the fact. So once you have sent that in, you're also going to have to send in an excerpt from your criminal record, which is held by the Swiss government, so it's not locally, it's statewide or countrywide rather. So you're not allowed to have a criminal record to be able to purchase a firearm in Switzerland. What then that bureau will do, it'll look at everything. It's going to basically start digging into your background. If you are a male and you were in the military, or a Swiss national that had to have the military service, they will dig into that also. They will make sure that you completed it, that you had no felonies or issues in the military where the military denied you the use of a weapon, because that would then also deny you the ability to get to acquire that weapon acquisitions license. Anything that would hint then to you for having any psychological problems, medical issues, anything like that will also hinder you from getting such a license. So it's very, very strict here. So going to seizure, basically as long as you're a law-abiding citizen, your weapons will not get seized. Seizure pretty much only happens every time the government has any sort of reason, kind of criminal intent. All the seizures that we read about are people that are either mentally unstable, where they think they're going to hurt themselves or others, or if they were planning some kind of, some kind of attack on something, then they will come and seize all your weapons. Other than that, there is no reason for them to seize them, and they won't seize them. They'll pretty much leave you alone. As to what you can own, I'm going to throw up some pictures now while I read down what you actually can own. You can own pistols, you can own revolvers, you can own automatic rifles, aka hunting rifles. You can own lever action rifles, pump action shotguns, semi-automatic shotguns, and semi-automatic rifles. For example, the Sturmgewehr PE90 or PE57. That's just some of the types that we can own. We can't own anything else. We are not allowed to have full automatic rifles, full automatic machine guns. We're not allowed to have anything like a grenade launcher. You're not allowed to have light machine guns. You're not allowed to have butterfly knives. You're not allowed to have throwing knives. You're not even allowed to have laser sight attachments. You're not even allowed to have certain types of scopes. Or say if you have a Picatinny rail on your handgun, you're not allowed to have a flashlight attachment either. Those things are all forbidden items, and you have to have a special license to purchase those, and basically only police and special organizational units are able to get those. So we are very strict. Now, those are all the type of weapons we can buy and that we need a weapon acquisition license for. There's certain type of weapons, or yeah, they still call them like weapons, but you don't need a license to buy them, but you have to register them and tell them that you have them. For example, airsoft guns, paintball guns, you need to register those. And what they also don't count as weapons are old World War I and World War II rifles from Swiss Army, or also from some other foreign countries. So those you have to let them know that you have them, but you do not have to get a weapon acquisition license to purchase them. In regards to the training that the cantons did or did not do in the late early 1900s, quite frankly, I wasn't able to find anything on it. I did some research. The only thing that I was able to find is like until late 1800s, the Swiss military did not give out basically weapons to its soldiers. I mean, we've always been a militia, but they didn't have any standardized weapons, nor did they have uniforms. So up until the late 1800s, whatever people brought, just whatever they had. And then in the late 1800s, they started getting organized, got the first real weapon that everybody got handed to, you know, the first uniforms and stuff like that. What we did always have in Switzerland were a lot of shooting events. Maybe you're referring to Knabenschießen in the canton of Zurich, which is once a year, a big shooting festival where all the youth, back in the day it used to be only boys, now it's boys and girls up to the ages of 18, where they have this shooting competition. Maybe it was in reference to that. Or of course, it was a lot easier, you know, to go hunting and to have rifles back in the old days. But as I said, I wasn't able to find anything on canton-specific training prior to that. Or even now, there's nothing like that that is sponsored. There's a lot of groups where you can join up, where you can go shooting and stuff like that as teenagers. Or, you know, as any age range basically, but we don't have a lot of shooting ranges, especially nearby, so a lot of shooting and practice does take part as part of the military service. So, and to the other part, what life is like in the military, I myself did not have to do military service. I was found unfit basically because I have ADHD. They don't like people with ADHD in the army. Fine by me. I just had to pay my yearly fee until I hit 30. It's like 4% of your salary that you have to pay every year. Yeah. But I know from all my friends that have gone how it is. So I pulled up the numbers for you. I'm looking down because I got them down here. I want to read them off so I get them right for you. It changed this year. Starting January 1st, 2018, if you enter into the military service, if you're a basic soldier, you have to observe 124 days of basic training. Afterwards, you have 6 refresher courses until you're like 30, 35-ish, the latest. Those 6 courses are 19 days each. And then you have to count in 4 days total for entering the army and leaving the army. So that brings you up to 242 days of total military service that you have to do as a basic soldier. Now, this number, depending what rank you have, can go up all the way to 680 days of service that you do in the Swiss Army. Now, I must say, from what I hear and from what I see, you can't compare Swiss Army in any way to the US Army. It's very relaxed here, basically. We have a kind of a light basic training right now. I mean, we have certain days now where the recruits are allowed to wear sneakers instead of the boots, the army boots. They're allowed to wear sneakers on certain days to just, ease the load. And those 19 refresher days are mostly considered of standing around, reading, and in the evening going out and drinking beer. So it's very, very relaxed, very easy, and I myself always kind of considered the Swiss military to be kind of a joke. If you look at our Air Force, up to, I think it's this year or last year where they started to get more active, but up till that point our Air Force was only office hours, so from 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening is when our Air Force was on alert. So if anything happened in our airspace after 5 p.m. until 7:59 in the morning the next day, the countries around us, so Germany, France, Italy, or Austria, had to come protect our airspace. So yeah, we're not a serious country. We like to act big. We like to want to buy new planes for billions of dollars, but basically we don't need it. I mean, we're such a small country. I hope this answered your questions. If anybody else has any more questions, feel free to post them below, and I'll gladly do some more research and make another video on it. And I look forward to talking to you guys in my next video. Thanks a lot.